Yeah, it's a great choice by our team. I'm super proud of the guys that got voted captain. I'm super proud of the rest of the team recognizing who can be great leaders for us. And all four of them have done an awesome job. Jake and Ronnie on offense, and Tyson, Maeva, and David Prowlis on defense.
Somebody like a Tyson who just got here too. What does that say about his character for the guys to vote him team captain?
I just got chills thinking about what he's brought to us and how the guys have received him as a teammate. And he understands it. He says this is a special place, and I really feel he means it. It's just been cool seeing him come in and still be himself, be accepted by the rest of the team, and him just running with it. He knows what championships look like. He's coming here. This is his last hurrah, his senior year, and he wants it bad just like the rest of the guys. And so he's naturally a vocal guy. And there's a few guys like that on our team, but I love it when he's not afraid and is convicted in who he is, and it's really important to him.
You've talked about Ronnie a lot, even go back to your time as a coordinator, but for him to be voted as a team captain in an extra year because of COVID, what are your expectations for Ronnie this season?
Yeah, well, we know what our expectations are for him on the field. It's to be superhuman, right? That's not fair to him, but we expect big things. And what's really cool is seeing his growth in these other ways, and being selected as a team captain. I think it's just it just shows what he's done, especially off the field in a leadership role, and the guys see him. It was a no-brainer vote from our team, voting him just based on how the number of votes he received. And so last night I let each captain speak, and it was maybe one of the most impressive speeches I've seen Ronnie give. It is the most impressive one, and it was heartfelt. It just was natural. It was a summary of everything he's done here, and it was a pretty special thing to see a guy that I know I came in with in 2017 and see how he's grown into the type of leader he is. And again, everything he does in the football field, we know that's going to be special as well. But what he's gotten here, it's a pretty big deal.
Is there anything specific he said that you can share with us that stood out?
I mean, I think he just shared a lot of what the belief is in his teammates, and how he's seen us since even last year, and how 3-3 wasn't acceptable for him, but it also wasn't acceptable for the rest of the team, and how he saw the work that was being put in to support what our goals are all season long, not just here in fall camp, not just right away when it was fresh in our minds, but for 8 months. And he shared what it looked like when we were part of a championship in 18, and compared a few of those things to what's going on now. And we're a different team. Every year is a different team, but as far as your makeup, and even the leaders and how it's led. But there's a lot of comparisons that show similarities as well.
Coach, you got exactly 2 weeks until your season starts. Actually, less than 2 weeks, because 11 o'clock is when your game is in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Is this team ready right now, if the game were today?
There's some things special teams-wise with the personnel, but we know the schemes, we know the things that we need to do. Goal line and red zone is all in. The one thing we probably need more work on is 2-minute drill and some things like that. So getting pretty specific. We'll go through some more game situations, things that you don't work on a lot and you just have scattered throughout fall camp. So we're not perfect in some of those special end of the game situations yet, but we're getting there.
Any standout performers today?
I think I thought right away Jalen Henderson hit a big run. The quarterbacks aren't live, and he showed that he's a game breaker. We know he's got a big arm and stuff, but the first drive they were out there, he hit a big one right down the middle, and had a couple big interceptions by the defense. DeMarcus Johnson made a one-hand grab, dropping from from position on the line of scrimmage. So that was pretty impressive. The defense got pretty hyped on that. So I thought there was the most solid all-around we've been, especially on the defensive side throughout the entire camp.
You said last week you wanted to improve on the penalties too. Was there any kind of takeaways just from the scrimmage today?
I think it was pretty good. There was a couple holds that we got called for, but it's great. I'd rather have them called now because you feel the consequences that you have to pay when that happens. It might be a big play and it gets called back for a hold, and the mindset you have to be in to worry about the next play, not what just happened. So It was definitely cleaner than last week for sure in that way.
What just, I guess, who on the offensive line has kind of stuck out to you, and how are you just feeling about that group?
Yeah, I think it's Mose Vavo has just been consistent, probably the most consistent from day one. And then I think Dante Bull continues to be on the rise throughout fall camp. I think Matt Smith, coming off of his injury from last year, even though he played, he's coming off an injury. I think as the camp's gone on, he's gotten back to being the best player he's probably been. And so I'm excited about the directions a lot of those guys are headed. Maybe not where they're at yet. We still got two weeks, but I really feel like those guys, and I think Bulu, I think, has done a really nice job. So he's been the most consistent I've ever seen him as well. A lot of that has to do with just being healthy.
You mentioned Henderson. Has he started to separate himself as a number 2 quarterback behind him?
I don't know if he's separated himself, but you see what he's capable of doing. I mean, big play with the arm. I mean, hitting some balls in some tight windows earlier in the week in some red zone sessions. And throwing on the run, and now you add the ability that you can see even with the pads, even with him not being live, you see him popping a big play on it was a 3rd and long play actually. He hit one right down the middle, and he's got that finishing speed.
When do you start looking at UConn? Or have you already started to look at UConn?
Oh yeah, well, in the summer we do a lot of that prep, and so there are some drafts of call sheets on both sides of the ball and what we want to have ready, and a lot of that gets incorporated to fall camp as some of your base stuff. We'll get into that here at the end of this week as far as truly working some scout team looks. You want to have the extra, utilize the extra days, but you also want it to be fresh. When you start working it, let's say Tuesday this next week, and you're doing it for 2 full weeks, you forget the details that you talk about earlier when you start camp. So we'll do it later in the week. We still got some things that we can do. You want to keep working good versus good so that the speed of the game is fast, and so we'll do that on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday get into some like mock games type situations, like the substitutions and all that, as far as from offense to punt team to the defense, getting a stop, and now punt return and all that. So those transitions are something that we'll work later in the week as well.
Is there something you wanted to see in terms of progress from Scrimmage 1 to Scrimmage 2, and did you see it?
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't just today, but I think the last 2 practices we have become much more physical. And so 3 days this week where we wore full pads, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And today I think it showed. I thought our tackling was the best it's been. I think you can hear a good practice. When you just sit back there and close your eyes, you can hear whether it's a more physical day or not. And I thought today was the most physical day we've had. I like the energy that we brought as well. That was a point that I challenged the guys with last night, was to bring the energy, not the beginning, but sustain it for the entire scrimmage. And I'm really happy. The guys had some fun out there. You can see them coming together. The talks are always fun, but you can see there's really a great focus to do some special things. Good?
Cool.
Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right.
Coach.
Thanks, guys. You bet.